Okay, there we go. Hi everyone, it's Artie from Human Chapters. I'll tell you a little bit about the human chapters. Humans are living narratives with a past, present, and future. These narratives constitute of a number of chapters across a lifespan. The aim of these conversations is to highlight a chapter of the narrative and unpack its connections to other chapters. I don't care whether people are natural storytellers, but I truly believe each person has a story to tell. An acknowledgement to country. We acknowledge the traditional owners of the land which now comprises Greater Shepparton. We pay respect to their tribal elders, past and present and emerging. We celebrate their continuing cultures and we acknowledge the memory of their ancestors. So today we are going to be talking to Jinita, and her chapter is Bless the Mess. So I'll pass on the floor to Ginny to introduce. There you go.
Hi, Artie. Firstly, thank you so much for thinking of me and for inviting me to this amazing podcast that you're doing. It's so fantastic to read stories from other people and their journeys. And I am really privileged to be part of this. Thank you very, very much.
You're very welcome.
So I'll just introduce myself. My name is Jinita. I am a Kenyan born and brought up here. I studied for a few years abroad in the UK and returned back. I'm married to Amar, who coincidentally also studied in Australia for a few years and also moved back. And we have a ball of energy, a 2-year-old ball of energy, my son Ray. And I guess a little background about myself. I am an ex-banker / in the finance industry, converted, went full circle over to another passion and passion of mine, which is the arts and in particular performing arts. My husband is a theatre director, and I joined his ship, and I've not looked back since. So today, I suppose this is my journey about the greatest journey of all, which is motherhood, and how I suppose this is my quest towards trying to bring up my son as holistically, simply, and working from the concepts of our parents and grandparents, and using as little resources for him to really just grow up as simply as possible. And I suppose on a parallel road is my husband and mine, our passion to work with children, youth, and adults on developing them holistically, on developing their personalities, and really working on skills that seem to be diminishing with the rise in technology. Things like communicating, confidence, critical thinking, creativity, things that have sort of been pushed under the pillow over time. And you have a rise, and especially given the situation, the COVID, that COVID has kind of suppressed or made people more introvert now more than ever. These skills, I suppose, are more paramount, and we've done this through a speech and drama academy, an international speech and drama academy, which is actually an Australian brand. It's called the Helena Grady, which we have now introduced in Kenya for about a year. So I suppose this is a journey of both these aspects.
Beautiful. So, Janita, my next question is, why would you like your son to grow up leading a simplistic life with minimal resources? Yeah. And you talked a bit about parents and grandparents, but we're also in a very different world at the minute. Yeah. I'm curious about the why.
Okay. I suppose we live in a world where there is so much pressure, especially for children, on academics. on excelling at sports, becoming the best actor, becoming the best musician. All this focus on achievement in general. But these are all quantitative achievements, and it's great. It's a good drive. I suppose it's healthy in limits. But then who is, these certificates, degrees, trophies, medals, some sort of gratification to it all? But what about qualitative achievements? Who says, I want my son to be the kindest human on this earth? When is the last time we helped an old person cross the road? Or I don't know, give positive feedback to a restaurant where you had poor experience instead of rant about it on social media? Or when is the last time that we were really just compassionate, kind human beings? I think we are all sort of getting wrapped up in this rat race, and we forget to step out of it and just be basic good human beings.
Yeah.
I know for a fact these days people struggle to speak. They would rather write an email than pick up a phone call. They'll shy behind WhatsApp messages, tremble at the thought of making a presentation. I think we've forgotten how to break ice with a stranger. So we have all these brilliant plans, but how are we making the most of it? How are we communicating? Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, I don't know, you name it, has brought us, connected us even more now than ever before. But how many of us can we say are truly social human beings? Have we lost our sense of socialism? Ironically, I think we have. Um, I suppose there is a desire for a simpler way of living and raising our children. We want to save our childhoods. We want to reclaim what's been lost over the past few decades to technology, time in nature, time for childhood, time for exploration, time to learn at their own pace, and time for us to pursue our own interests as well. But I suppose in reclaiming childhood, we're also reclaiming motherhood or parenthood, trusting our instincts on what's best for our children, as opposed to exactly what you mentioned before, succumb to the vast amount of information thrown at us and do what society expects is normal of us. Something that I wish that schools would focus on even more. I suppose schools do focus on elements of it, but I don't know if it's actually something that is taken with so much importance, are things like mindfulness, emotion regulation, assertiveness, self-worth, self-esteem, that making mistakes is okay, that saying no is also okay. How do we reframe our negative thoughts? And most important of all, how do we never, ever lose the inner child in us?
Yeah.
And so for this chapter, I want to dwell especially on that last bit, on how to never lose a child in us. What comes to mind? I don't know if you've heard of it, read it. I know it's a multi-million, it's a mega bestseller. It's a book by Eckhart Tolle called The Power of Now. I don't know if you've read it or heard of it, at least.
I've heard of it.
Okay. So in a very layman sense, it's realizing deeply that the present moment is all we really have, and that the now should be the primary focus of our life. And you know what? I read this entire book speaking about how we return back to the now. We forget about the regrets and the past of yesterday and the unforeseen of tomorrow, and keep returning back to the now. And after becoming a mum, I realized that children are born with this. Children only really know the now. They don't know how to think about yesterday or tomorrow. They give their 100% focus on what's in front of them. And unfortunately, this diminishes with age as experiences and all sorts of things come our way. But who's learning from who here? Are we learning from our children? I really think so. I really, really think so. And I suppose this is why, 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds are some of the happiest people on this planet.
Yeah.
Um, and I suppose it goes back to my point to keep bringing back this inner child in us, to keep refreshing, to keep refocusing every single time that we feel we're in a very daunting situation. Let's be honest. How many of us really have fun in our lives? We call everything we do a chore. We have work, we cook, we shop, we clean. But you know what? We can bring the fun back in all of this. We can jig our way to work. We can play rock and roll on the radio and dance on our way to shopping. We can dance while we cook. We can have fun. But we choose not to. We choose to just be stressed and constantly on a time-bound limit and constantly running around. We forget to let loose and just go back to basics.
Yeah.
And I suppose it ties in with this very heavily material world that we're enveloped around. Manufacturers are brilliant. They are excellent. They will manufacture something that we totally don't need, package it and sell it to us as a total necessity. And we will be running around. I mean, I remember when Ray, that's my son's name, when Ray was born, I was given a whole list of things that I need. Prams and I mean, I don't know, there was all these things, some of things I had never heard of as well. And I was like, wait a minute, I've never seen some of these. My mom never used them. She had one little bouncer, and that's all she had.
Mm.
And she raised two kids fine. And so why do I need all these things? Why? It's just it's a gimmick, and we succumb ourselves to it. And I suppose this is what I say. You have the good, bad, and ugly of modern world, and this is why I keep returning back to, or even sometimes whenever I'm stuck, I ask my house help, Mary, how do you do it? What do you do? And she says, I tie a kanga around and carry my baby around, and that's fine. A kanga is a cloth that costs no more than $1.
Mm.
So I suppose that return to basics and that simplicity is where my drive towards creating a very nature-based childhood for my son has stemmed from.
Yeah.
I remember when my son was about 10 to 11 weeks old. Amar and I are very passionate about the Rhino Challenge, which is one of the world's largest 4x4 off-road event. And we both volunteer for it. And, it was a no-brainer. We're going to take Ray to the charge. And this happens in a fairly remote part of the country. He had just recovered from a bacterial infection. And so, I mean, I don't know if that's the reason or just the fact that he was 10 weeks old, but so many people said, oh my God, you're insensitive and you're insensible and inconsiderate. But what if this happens? What if he gets a cold? What if?
Mm.
And I said, okay, if he gets a cold, I will take this medicine. If he falls down, I will do this. And so we just managed all the what ifs and took him out. Oh, and before we took him out, I remember I said, okay, fine. I've had so many people telling me so many things about not going. I'm going to visit my pediatrician and let me see what he says. And Arti, the words he said are going to stick with me for life. He said to me, Jinita, wherever you're going in the world, doesn't matter where, are there not children born there every single day?
Yeah.
How are they coping? I mean, it's a no-brainer. So it doesn't matter if you're going to a little village in the Amazon forest or wherever you're going. There are babies born there and babies are surviving there. So what's different? Go.
Yeah.
Manage it, whatever you need to do, take your precautions, but go. And we had the best time. Ati, I said to everybody, what I would have done within four walls, I was doing underneath a sky full of stars, overlooking this massive gorge, fresh air, acacia trees. It couldn't get better. Really couldn't get better. I was just being a mother. The same thing I would do, except I was doing that outside.
Yeah.
And I think I had a very happy baby too.
Yeah.
And so I think when we think about things in the grand scale of things, we just overthink, overlook, overreact, possibly because of the horde of information thrown at us. but also because maybe we've forgotten to trust our gut, trust our basic instinct. Um, I think marrying this, I can speak about, which is really the topic of this chapter, which is bless the mess, and how I think the more the mess, the more the blessings, all the way. As humans, our basic human instinct is survival. Um, we eat, we poop, we sleep, we explore to survive. At the core of us, it's survival. And children are no different.
Yeah.
When we expose our children through to mess, and any sort of mess, and I'll come to mess in a little bit, but any sort, unstructured, unsanitized. I know during COVID times that's not the best word to use, but I mean I mean very raw, unfiltered mess, if I can call it that. We are allowing them to do several things. One is absolute freedom to explore textures and terrains. Absolute freedom. And I actually wrote something down. Your terrain becomes your textbook. And I love that because you're learning constantly. Your terrain, whatever it is, you put them in a sand pit or in the mud or in flour or in the pool or I don't know. It becomes their textbook. They're learning. Motor, pincer, gripping skills, whether you're 2, whether you're 20, the more you do it, the more you're climbing rocks, the stronger your fingers are becoming. The more you're swimming, the stronger your muscles are becoming. So the more you're doing this, the better your gripping skills are becoming. Subconsciously, it's allowing the freedom to make mistakes and to learn from them. I'm going to fall if I do this. Until I fall, I won't really learn. So I've got to fall sometimes to really get myself back up.
Yeah.
Was there a bit of a lag there, or I don't know? It seems to have
There
cut.
is a little bit, and I'm not sure why, but that's all right.
Okay, okay. I suppose it's also great for them to expand their creativity. I have seen children playing in mud, making little mud pies, and I've asked them, what are you doing? Oh, my unicorn needs to eat. So this is for my unicorn. And here is a little space for my dragon to lay its eggs so that they can hatch into another dragon. And if we stop there and just really think about this, yes, I know we make fun of dragons and unicorns, but if we really think about it, this is incredible creativity at such a young age. And you know what? We take away from it. We tell them that no, unicorns don't exist. What? Dragon eggs? Oh, come on. And it's unfortunate because we're killing that creativity that ideally should be, I don't know, expounded on even more. But this happens because they're allowed to explore and be out there. Doesn't matter where. And by out there, it could be in a kitchen, it could be in a balcony, it could be in the bathroom, it could be anywhere. It doesn't have to be outdoor all the time. It's allowing for exploration to become second nature, no matter where they are. No matter where they are, they are able to just be anywhere. And instead of coming to you and saying, Mom, I'm bored, they're finding ways to create something out of that boredom.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to talk a little bit about, because I know so many moms have commented on some of my social media posts or have said to me, oh, you know what, you're doing an amazing job. I love all the messy play you do. I love all the, to me, it's not anything out of the ordinary. It's just simple, basic things that I'm doing. And so I want to speak a little bit about how bad is this mess. Why are people shying away from their children going to play outside or from making that mess? Why are parents closed to making a mess? I'll just tell you, I have allowed my son to dig up earthworms, play with wood and mud and stones and sand and water and flour and butter and jam and paint and everything else in between. And every single time, all it took was about 15 minutes, some water, soap, and both me right? And the mess was cleaned up. So it's as simple as that. Yes, you make the mess and it will be temporarily all over the place, but it's as simple as that. Yes, he has had thorns prick him, grazed knees, insect bites, jellyfish stings. He's been bitten by a dog, scratched by a warthog while he was trying to feed him. All sorts have happened. But you know what? These little humans don't mind it, and they'll go back to doing exactly that. They will still feed the dogs, and they'll still feed the warthogs or whatever it was. They'll still bathe in the ocean. They don't have any inhibitions. And all of these are treatable. And I'm not saying we're being ridiculous and allowing them to jump off from cliffs. It's all supervised. But within moderation, we need to just give them the space to just be and explore and fall a little bit. And it's okay. Um, it makes them stronger, it builds their immunity, and they learn how to look after themselves without supervision as they grow older. So there's a few deeper implications of this messy play. There is that building immunity. There is dealing with with being outside a comfort zone. Suddenly we've just landed in sludge or in I don't know cow dung all over us. What are we gonna do? Or I don't know. We're baking cakes and the batter has hit the ceiling wall. I don't know how are we going to clean that. Just dealing with situations that may be outside our control, slightly outside of our comfort zones, and it's going to happen. That older children are going to get. They go into teenage years. They go into youth. We have 50 million things thrown at us, and so how do we deal with that? It's by allowing them that freedom to explore at a very young age to build that mindset on how to do it. Um, and the last thing is keeping their curiosity going, their creativity flowing, their basic human instincts thriving. And I suppose in this harsh world or not so harsh world, I don't know, depending on whatever perspective you see from, survival is all we're here really for. So how best can we survive? How can we make the best of our survival time here? Um, I think there are a lot of parents who are afraid of making that mess. And I just want to say to them, some of the reasons for this are, I suppose, the fear of the unknown. They could be, just a child playing in the garden, and you have someone at the back saying, "Careful, careful! A snake will come at you." It's a garden. I don't know if a snake is really going to come at you. So sometimes we're just so scared because of things we watched in movies, and replicate that to our real world and our immediate surroundings. But I'm not so sure if that's really true. Yes, there's things that will hurt you, but I don't know if it's as extreme as some of our own fears that we impose on our children. And I think number two is, as parents, sometimes maybe we've forgotten how to have fun. It's okay to have a fight with shaving foam or dough balls or rice or I don't know, whatever it is, or mud, roll around in the mud. It's okay. It's okay. It's fun. Do it. Let's just keep having that child coming back because these experiences are what our children are really going to carry into their youth and further. And I feel every single time that we have any sort of play which is messy, it could be, I understand that people live in apartments and don't really have access to gardens. It could be in the kitchen. We can make a mess out of a batter. We can make a mess out of any sort of thing in the kitchen. It could be in the bathroom. We can have gun fights, water fights. We can do all sorts. It could be in the balcony. It could be anything. It could be very simple things. It could be on the beach with sand, in the swimming pool. It can be anywhere. We can bring the mess to us if we want. And I think it's very important because this kind of play is where they have the most fun. Children have the most fun. Any other sort of play, yes, they will be engaged, and it's great to have a mix of things. But I think if whatever they're doing is giving them the most fun, they're learning the most from it. Because we all learn the most from the fun that we've had
Yeah.
and the best experiences that we've had. On a very parallel road, and I suppose this is the second part of what I want to speak about, is um, my general interest in the welfare of our children and our youth, especially in a very technology clouded world, and how we can elevate some of the skills for them. We come across, I'm not so sure if it applies to where you are, but in this country, I come across graduates, I come across young adults who are stepping into this big world but can't do basic things like they can't look you in the eye and speak to you. They can't maintain that eye contact. Their body language is very closed. They are very shy. They will tremble if they're suddenly told make a speech. And it's anything, a birthday speech to a corporate speech to anything. We've really just closed ourselves behind the screen. And so we're communicating, we're becoming social, but behind screens. We're writing emails, we're hiding behind WhatsApp messages, but we don't want to pick up the phone, we don't want to meet with people, we don't want to go out there and talk as humans and touch and maintain contact. We are so scared. COVID aside, that's a very different situation. I'm not telling anybody to go and get contact, but um, if only we could reach out to people the way we used to pre-internet or pre-technology, where you told somebody, okay, I will meet you at the park on Saturday at 3 o'clock, and that's all there is. Saturday 3 o'clock, you just show up at the park, and that's the only way you're going to meet this person. That's how dates were back in the day. So, and I think there's a real beauty in that. There's so much beauty in that because we are only communicating using our full sensorial experience. We are communicating with our eyes and our ears and our fingers and our, everything. Um, and that brought us, marrying that sort of search and our performing arts brought us to a search for a school that would really do what we've wanted all along, and that's to teach life.
Yeah.
And the best thing that I think we have done in the last few years is stumble upon this amazing, amazing international academy. I cannot, not only because I'm part of it, but I cannot stress it enough. It's called the Helena Grady International Speech and Drama Academy. Aarti, the people that we interact with who are part of this academy have taught us so much, just from their own experiences. The way this curriculum is designed, it's fully focused on development of a child, of an adolescent, of personality, and using this award-winning curriculum and performing arts techniques, allowing a space for children or our students in totality to just come and express themselves freely, totally just express themselves. One minute they're a bee, another minute they're making a speech as a politician, another minute they are a crooked thief who has just stolen a gem. Um, and trying to buy their way out of jail time. I mean, I don't know. They are allowed to just express emotion, sadness, and anger, and guilt, and trapped. Things that have been trapped. And especially this year, when we return back to physical teaching, we have realized more now than ever the effects of people being housebound has clogged up so much, and that clog up, if is not released in the right channel, stays with people through life and manifests in different negative ways if not addressed well. So what we're trying to do is teach all our students ways in which they're able to cope through different situations and emotions through life. There are no exams, there's no pressure for any of that quantitative stuff. It's fully focused on a qualitative um, development.
Okay.
And when I marry the two, my journey as a mother and my journey as being able to provide this platform to everybody, it brings me back to two or three basics, blessing all the messes that we have in our lives, because they teach us, they teach us, they teach us. Letting the inner child in us never die, never die. I'm known to just be laughing. I laugh a lot. I'm known as a laugher. Um, and I sleep at night in 2 seconds without anything in my head, because I've dealt with it or I'm going to deal with it tomorrow when I wake up. Let me sleep. And I think it's an important thing to be able, yeah, right, to be able to just say, I had a good day, I had a bad day, whatever, but I will deal with it.
But
And I'm not going to stress over it.
To be saying that as a mom, right? The general perception, or when you have a child, at least lack of sleep, all of that, sleep deprivation, it's packaged into motherhood. But hearing you say, yes, no, I love my sleep. I'll fall asleep. It's wonderful to hear that.
So we had our fair share of really grumpy nights, really, really, really grumpy nights. Up until I think Ray was about 10 months old, it was, whew, it was chaotic. I'll not deny that. But we're grateful for solutions that we have. We have things called sleep training, which is it's done in moderation. Works great for both parents, children. It works for some. It doesn't work for others. I'm not any advocate for it, but we managed to work around it. And now all of us sleep a good. I mean, we get a good 8-9 hours. Ray gets a good 10-11 hours of sleep a night, and we're all happy bunnies. We wake up in the morning hungry as hell, ready to start the day.
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
So, yeah. I suppose this is my journey, and I guess my quest to constantly, work on becoming this confident human being who is able to just tackle things as they come, who's able to confidently communicate, express, deal with expression, deal with bad days and good days and all of that. And I suppose if we did that, multiplied that on a global scale on every single individual, imagine what a wonderful world it would be.
Absolutely. And Janita, just as you were talking about humans being sort of closed in, introverted, or hiding behind screens, I was thinking about the concept, or rather, humans and their adaptability sort of skill, right? So, whatever the condition is, then you're adapting to it. So, pre internet, pre technology, that was all that there was, right? So, the humans adapting to it. Post internet, post technology, that's the humans adapting to that. And the balance between that pre-world, the post-world coming in alignment, I think personally for me, I think it will be almost like a soul searching, but an ongoing journey for most. Because if you think, about that adaptability, what is it going to be like? Oh, we've forgotten how to communicate, or because we need to do it all the time? Are we practicing these skills? Are we being immersed in it to then go into, oh, wait a minute, I can choose to just here send a message, and it's a thing.
Sure. Actually, I actually think technology has worked for our betterment. There's so many things, it's made our lives so much easier. We're able to do this because of technology. And hats off to Zoom and internet and all these other gurus who have brought this to us. If I take a step back slightly, one of the things that has come out of this last year of pandemic is that families have been well, some have been forced to, for some it's been, oh great, be together for the whole year.
Yeah.
When I speak about communicating to each other, one of the biggest reasons why we have a surge in people seeking some sort of mental health help or therapy or any sort of assistance getting by situations is because of trapped emotion. Maybe from when they were children, maybe from now, maybe from at whatever stage. It manifests in different ways, in different levels of our lives. And when I talk about communicating and confidence and all of these things, creativity,
Yeah.
I'm talking about how we can constantly have release of these emotions. So not just being able to confidently put out this beautiful presentation to your company employees or write out a beautiful speech, but just to be able to say, Amar, today I had a really bad day. You disappointed me, and I feel XYZ is what didn't work for me. Can we try to do ABC? And that is the basis of communication, which we as human beings are slowly, it's sort of fading, I feel, over time. I mean, marriages are crumbling. And one of the biggest reasons, I don't know how many people I've spoken to, but one of the biggest reasons goes down to communication. Trust is another one, but communication is the crux of all relationships. Marriage one, but friendships, work relationships, your relationship with your subordinates, your house helps, your children, strangers. We are constantly communication, and we're communicating subconsciously as well. We're communicating with our eyes, with our facial expression, with our feeling. When I'm angry, I will communicate that anger through, whatever. I'm just snappy and I'm whatever. When I'm happy and calm, I'm communicating that even to a stranger. And that's what I mean by communication as the crux of all relationships. There is only so much, especially with meaningful relationships, that we can do on a screen. It helps us, yes. It helps us put our thoughts together. It helps our relationships that are miles apart. But there is only a little element of that we can do. Um, and I think an emotional release can only really be done by communicating. And I'm not just saying by speaking. Speech is one form of communication. There is body language. There's a myriad of things. And that's one of the things that we work on so much through drama.
Yeah.
So that marriage between technology, which is great for us, even with my son, I think a little bit of screen time is good for him. He's learning something, whatever, so many animated things. He's learning sounds of animals and he's learning whatever it is. He's learning, but it's limited. It's 20 minutes a day, and that is it for now. What I think is the danger is where we don't have the control of that time, where we just shove a screen to shut them up, because that's the easy thing to do. It's much harder to engage with them and constantly have something for them to do. We want to do our own thing. We want to go out. We want to party. We want to do, okay, so you just stay at home and watch TV. And we know that's the easy way to do it. So there's the bad of it. And then there's the ugly of technology, which is literally people being swallowed by these things. I know people on holiday. I remember when we were at the coast in December, there was a couple with a 2-year-old child who I saw with a screen pretty much all the time. I thought, okay, this is on holiday. The coast is every child's favorite destination. They get to swim all day, what have you. And so he had this very nice, fancy paddling float with a sunshade and the works. But Aarti, in that paddling float was the strangest, most bizarre thing that I ever thought was a pocket for an iPad.
Oh, really?
So this 2-year-old, yes, he's on the pool floating around. What is he doing? watching Peppa Pig. And I think this is the ugly side of technology. It's basically a drug. You're addicted. You can't function without it. You can't do anything. You can't enjoy anywhere. I know for almost 90% of us, if our phone is away from us for more than 5 minutes, we are having a panic attack. And that's an addiction. That is actually an addiction. Scrolling is the new smoking.
Yeah.
We sit on the toilet seat scrolling away. we can't do anything. It's true. Very true. Our toilet time has been prolonged.
Yeah, that's correct.
Scrolling literally is the new smoking. It is the new drug, and that is the ugly of technology. So I guess if we're able to manage all these and bring in elements of outdoor messy play, and the biggest thing is to spend time with each other and have fun with each other, communicate and have fun. I think then now we've reached what we call the utopian world.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of my questions, Janita, to you is, given that we are bombarded with information, right? I'm not a parent, but I can only imagine what parents go through. There's information left, right, and center, and that sort of, you know, almost preventing children from doing things because your brain's always either in the future, there's a lot of that hazard perception, risk taking sort of thing. How do you deal with having so much information, but yet being not going out into nature, right? So the places that you guys would go to, safari, wherever, remote areas, how do you personally deal with or balance it out?
I think, to be very honest with you, this is gonna sound pretty pretty comical maybe, or pretty strange. But one of my go-to people, apart from apart from both sets of mums and our family, is my house help. I ask her in her little I don't know, 10 square foot house, and limited resources, totally, these are people who earn barely $150 a month.
Yeah.
How do you do it? What do you do on the weekends? How do you entertain your babies? How do you feed them? What do you feed them? What do you do for fun? How do you do it?
Yeah.
And when you think of life from that perspective, I think in our world, probably 70% of people are in that state. Between India, China, the impoverished countries, 70% of children and people don't have access to even 2% of what we do in terms of resources and material and information. They're happy to sit by a fire. They're happy to let these children make a fire so that they can cook. They have fun by all, I don't know, dancing around the fire together. They have fun by cooking together. They have fun by going and I don't know, peeling a banana and eating it together. I don't know, the simplest things that we take for granted because of this surge in information and the availability of all the material things that we have. There's, I don't know if you've heard of a concept called wild schooling. And I suppose there's an increase in that concept, especially in the West, where people have realized that, over the last 2 decades, we have succumbed to technology and formal schooling so much that our children maybe are becoming slightly smarter, but are becoming wussier by the day. And we are going to then have a population of people who, I don't know, who even if I just think of evolution, and the concept of evolution comes in my mind, we're losing our strength, we're losing our core, we are losing our everything. If you look at us as Homo sapiens and the Homo habilis and what have you, these were people who made tools and built stuff, what have you. And now we can barely take our dish from the table to the sink and wash it.
Yeah.
We're just becoming weaker. We're becoming all of that, and with a weaker physical or physique, our mental health is also being affected.
Mm.
And so, if if we if we think about wild schooling as a concept, parents are allowing the children to just learn through being exposed to the wild. Through by taking a walk in the forest, any forest, or in a park, they can learn math, they can learn English to form sentences, they can learn creativity, they can learn art, they learn science. So why are we then binding them down to a box in a classroom? Why are we drawing stones on a blackboard when they can look, feel, and play with it? Why are we, so they the new school of thought is leaning towards what I guess I am trying to do with my son and through what we're doing with the Drama Academy. But it's the core of it is return to basics, return to simplicity, returning to fresh air and available resources, moving away. It's reducing, recycling, upcycling, leading a more meaningful, simple, holistic life.
Yeah.
The more toys, I kid you not, we buy toys. These children, we play with them if you're lucky. They don't even want to play with these toys. But if we're lucky, they'll play with them for a day, 2 days. It lies around. And then what do? Oh, we're going to donate this to charity. And we think we've done such a great thing by doing that.
Yeah.
What are we really doing? If we really think about it, what are we really doing? Stop buying this. Let them play. Let them play with what's available naturally. Let them play with any sort of non-plastic, non-structured stuff. And then you don't have this thing of having to get rid of it. It's constantly recycled. You're basically, how can I call it? You're basically living a very eco-friendly life yourself, with your children, and not contributing more to the damage in an already damaged world.
Yeah.
And I suppose if we're all able to do that, we will probably have children collecting more snake eggs and dung beetles and I don't know, uh, snail shells rather than plastic toys, which are not even able to be fitted in the little wardrobe space that we have. And so I suppose that the whole vision is just simplicity and returning back to our basic human instincts and using all our sensorials in so doing.
Absolutely. And do you see a parallel between your Zaray's childhood and your childhood?
I think I do, and I'm very happy to actually think of it now that you've asked me. Um, my childhood is no different to possibly yours or any other person in our generation who grew up in Kenya. It was playing cops and robbers and yellow line and I don't know, hopscotch and all these things. You want to quickly come home and quickly finish your homework or not do it or whatever it is, and you want to just run outside and play with all the kids in the compound and cause chaos. And that's what I want to do. That's exactly what I want to do. We've closed ourselves so much as individuals now. That children have so much focus on, oh, finish your homework, you have to do this in this way, and then children like watch, I don't know, play PlayStation, watch TV, or all these other things. And so that option of just being outside with all the kids that you can find around you is less and less. But that's exactly what I want to do. We grew up going on camping trips and going on safaris, and I remember from the age of 4 or 5 or 6, my family friends who have now migrated to Australia, every single weekend we'd make, we making plans on, okay, you guys come over to my place, I'll come over to your place, and then having a blast, I don't know, pitching tents in the garden and making fires and midnight snacks
Oh,
and all that fun. And then I think about it, oh, it feels amazing. It feels so nice. Um, it was a lot of fun and laughter. Um, and I hope to be able to emulate the same for Ray and his friends and that generation.
absolutely, Janessa. And even, you're talking about it from a perspective of your childhood and Ray's childhood, but as an adult, oh, yes, let's go camping. Let's go trying to, curate opportunities to get away from all the chaos, get away from all of that information, and having that on a regular basis, because it's not, even then it's probably not as adequate as it should be from all of that bombardment. And you have to do this and you have to do this, and it's a very, very well organized system in a way through that chaos, right? That you blink, it's morning, and then it's night, and you go, wow. And how frequently do we say, where did the day go? How is it already noon? How is it already 9 p.m. and it's time to go to bed? Sort of thing.
Exactly. I mean, I remember when we put up this playhouse for Ray in the garden. We put it up, and forget Ray. I had not even thought of Ray for a few seconds, and I just wanted to go on the slide, and I wanted to go on the monkey bar, and I sat on the swing, and
Mm.
you want to do these things, and we just tell ourselves that no, 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 it's for kids only. But actually,
Exactly. Yeah.
oh, the fun we have
Yeah.
as adults.
Yeah.
It's
Absolutely.
yeah, it's even when we have when we have these play dates. I know all the moms have more fun than the kids do. So clearly, there's
There's, yeah.
we our calling is just that we seek happiness, and
Mm.
some of these things, just that impromptu fun, yeah, does that.
That's right. Um, that was absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing your chapter quite deeply. And yeah, would you have like just a little bit about your utopic world and a few key takeaways for the audience?
I suppose my utopic world is a focus towards wild schooling or towards more mess. And of course, marrying that with the benefits of the modern world. Like I say, technology has been a blessing in many ways. And if we just take the goods of the technology and marry that to the yesterday world of living free and carefree and with nature, I think that's my utopic world, really. So you have your little bit of your access to technology, but the core of your world and life is simplicity, returning to nature, finding all the learning that we need to do through nature or as much nature-based learning as possible. Um, Takeaways, a very popular outdoor mountaineering brand, the North Face. A lot of people know about it, might have heard about it. Their tagline is "Never stop exploring," and I think that's a life motto. Just never stop exploring. Don't be afraid to jump into that river, or don't. I mean, I'm not saying do it with the crocs around, but within within reason, it's okay. You may get a small sting, but it's all treatable. Keep blessing all the messes in your life. Keep blessing those. Um, Focusing on intrinsic values of compassion, of kindness, and of being a good human being, while we continue to work on our quantitative achievements.
Mm.
And my last thing is, or two things rather, we all struggle with time. We want to do so much. We never have enough time. Never, ever have enough time. We don't make enough time to work out or spend time with our children or what have you. But the little time we have, I think if we focus on making quality time, we won't feel as bad about not having time. I know we all work. I know we all have to work. I know all have certain things we need to do. We're not just sitting at home with our children all day, but the little time, even if it's half an hour, 1 hour, make that quality time. And the last thing is just don't forget to let your inner child out every now and then, or every day, or every time. Um, you will sleep a good 8 hour sleep like I do.
I think that's one of the reasons why I work with children, and I absolutely see the absolute beauty in a laugh, in a just it doesn't matter what it is. As you're saying, out of nothing can be something extraordinary, something very beautiful, but it's a shared moment in time. And that, that in itself has the power to make up for everything crap that's gone on that day, to go, nah, that was a good laugh. That story, oh my gosh, how crazy. And just that, those moments of bond, and that's with a child, sure, but as an adult, getting that inner child out and having those shareable moments is almost that time that I was talking about earlier. We try to, curate opportunities. Let's go camping, let's go this, but while you're trying to exercise your inner child, they are the opportunities during the day.
Exactly, exactly. And life is never, ever, ever as serious as we make it out to be. Never.
It's true. Absolutely.
So yeah, that's my journey, and that's my 2 cents worth.
That is amazing. Thank you so much for taking the time out, for having this wonderful conversation. And we will put tags to Helen O'Grady Speech and Drama Academy. And yeah, if there are any other tags you'd like me to put in your introduction, you can keep posted. So
thank you so much, Arti. It was wonderful chatting with you. I must say you're an incredible human, and thank you so much for creating this platform for people to just share stories. I think we learn so much from each other.
Absolutely. And sharing any story has value in it, and it's picking and choosing. So thank you.
Great. I'd like to hear your story one of these days.
I
hope to see a chapter on you.
Oh my goodness. Well, that might happen. I might have to ask someone, can you please interview me?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh my gosh. Okay, one day I'll need to make that happen.
Yes, you should. Thank you so much. Thank you, Arti. I know it's pretty late for you, so wish you a wonderful evening, and hopefully you get your 8 hours sleep as well.
Oh yeah, that's a must. Yeah.
Yes.